We all wish we could bring our Disney vacation home with us, right? To have that Disney feeling every day? Well, why not start your day the Disney way with a Disney blend from Joffrey's Coffee and Tea Company? With over 23 varieties to choose from the French bistro you find in your resort room to the Yachtsman's Steakhouse and Gico, of course, and now Joffrey's newest Disney blend, Le Cellier. Why not start your day with that Disney magic? Order yours today at Joffreys.com.
Hey Looper Nation, what's up? This is the original Super Looper, Joe Quattrocchi, coming to you live from my room here at Disney's Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa in a wet, lightning-filled, and possibly cold 2017 Walt Disney World Marathon weekend. Just finished up a great Rocketeer meet at the Abracadabra Bar at Disney's Boardwalk Resort, and wishing everybody best of luck in the half marathon on Saturday, if we run it, and on the full marathon on Sunday morning. Tim and Bob, time for you guys to start the show. Jack Wagner, as always, do your thing.
Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas.
The body of water that you see to the right of our forward motion is the Seven Seas Lagoon. The Seven Seas Lagoon is a man-made creation that took 3 years and the removal of millions of cubic yards of earth to complete.
Hey everybody, thanks for joining us. I'm Tim Scott.
I'm Bob Collar.
Bob, how about that open from our own running team captain, co-captain, Joe Quattrocchi?
How about that? Yeah, that was kind of a crazy weekend last weekend for the marathon.
Oh, and, racing, not racing. I don't even know what was going on.
Yeah, it was pretty nuts. So I wish we could talk to somebody about it to find out exactly what was going on there. But we got a show to do. So
we do.
Tim? What are we going to talk about today?
I think we need to talk about this most recent marathon. So let's have our running team captains join us. You already heard from Joe Quattrocchi. Also joining us is Emily Honsa Hicks. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Hey there.
Hi guys. How was last weekend?
I have a lot of energy because I didn't have to run.
It was confusing. I was hot. I was cold. I was wet. I didn't run. I ran. I'm not quite sure what happened.
It was a weird weather weekend in Central Florida, and which caused them to. Now this was the first time that they actually canceled a race. Yes,
that's what I was told.
Wow.
All right. So okay. So Friday comes around. You guys that would have been the 5K. Did you run in the 5K at all, Joe?
I did not. I was only registered this year for the 10K and the half marathon. I did Dopey 2 years ago. I was supposed to do these races last year, but I had to defer for other reasons. But this year's just a 10K and a half, and no 5K for me this year.
Okay, so tell us about the weather. Let's start with Friday. What was the weather like on Friday?
Friday was pretty good. It was probably high 40s, low 50s. I think race time, was about 54. I remember looking at my phone constantly, which is prime running weather. A little dampness in the air, but it was pretty good. I just had essentially a light long sleeve t-shirt on. It was like a throwaway shirt. So it was very comfortable getting off the bus in the morning from Saratoga. Very comfortable being in the waiting area, hanging out with the other Rocketeers and the other Lizards from the Be Our Guest podcast team. Everybody just hanging out, visiting. So it was a good weather, and during the race, it felt great. I was never uncomfortable. So Friday's weather was pretty good. I think it was probably the best of the weekend.
Emily, did Tara run? Now you were down there coaching, air quotes there, coaching. Tara, our good friend Tara, right. was she running in the 5K? Did she do the full or was she trying to get the Dopey? No.
So this was her first year doing the Goofy, and it's funny because she only registered for the Goofy because the travel provider that she went through, she hadn't signed up for the half, and the travel provider, she last minute she decided she couldn't stand being away for the weekend, and knowing we were all down there running. And so she looked for bibs for the half, and the travel provider told her she didn't have any for the half only, but she did have a couple of Goofy bibs. So Tara signed up for the Goofy with the intention of not doing the full, just doing the half. And I convinced her she could just sell the extra shirt or something like that and make a little bit of extra money on back for that, because it was so late that the travel provider said that she could get it for the same price as the half alone. So, as Tara is wont to do, she suddenly was starting to get tempted and more to actually run the full. So by the time she decided she was going to see how she felt after the half to see if she was going to run the full. And sure enough, she felt super great after they were supposed to run the half. So she decided to run the full. And she had a great first half, I think, and she just had an insane time seeing all the characters. She said that they had, I don't know, Joe, if they ever do this for any of the other races. I've never seen it before, but they had things out like the submarines from 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, basically some old retired attractions, some of the ride units, things like that. So she has a picture with one of the submarines, things like that. So I think she had a blast running the full, but she initially intended just to run the half, and then sort of was persuaded that, once she was registered for the full finally, I think she was, sort of a goner at that point.
Now
I'm sorry.
They
Bob.
ran that. No, that's okay, Joe. They ran the 5K and the 10K, right? I mean, that's what Disney was able to do, the 5K
Yep.
and the 10K. So the 5K was Friday, 10K was Saturday?
No, 5K was on Thursday. The 10K was
Thursday.
on Friday.
Okay, gotcha.
That's
gotcha.
right.
And then why don't you, for everybody out there that doesn't understand what the Goofy, what's the Goofy?
So the Goofy is the half and the full.
Okay.
So that is no small feat, and
No.
I'm not sure if I could do that ever. So
And then what
I'm
is
assuming
the
Joe
Dopey?
can if he's done the Dopey.
Yeah. So explain
Joe
the
tell
Dopey
ya.
then, Joe.
The Dopey is essentially it's 4 days of fun, as I call it. It's it's a 5K on Thursday, followed by a 10K on Friday, a half marathon on Saturday, and a full marathon on Sunday for 48.6 total miles of fun and waking up at 2:30 in the morning every day. But it's quite an experience, just to not only do all 4 races in a row and to have trained for all those races, but just to have woken up every day and seeing a lot of the same faces in the corrals every morning, your fellow Dopians. And, it's a lot of fun. Something I'm glad I did at least once. It was fun.
Very good. Now, Emily, you said that Tara ran the half. I thought the half was the one that was canceled.
Oh, I'm sorry. She actually she was going to run the half and then see how she felt, but she actually, because she didn't have to run the half, she felt great and did the full.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So Saturday was the bad day.
That's right. And I was registered for the half too.
Okay. Now, did you run the full?
I did not, and that was one of the options. So Run Disney, this is a little fun thing. Run Disney legally did not have to give anybody any substitutes because of the weather cancellation. It was a completely legitimate cancellation for obvious safety reasons. And honestly, when we were hearing about, when we were getting all these updates from Run Disney about how, they would tell us, if at a certain point in time, whether or not they were going to cancel, at that point, I was starting to get nervous about whether or not it was smart to run, even if they decided to hold it. So they didn't have to, but contractually, they did not have to give us any sort of options, but they were really quite, and I'll let Joe talk about this too, but they were really quite generous with their options for the canceled race. So what I chose to do, they did have an option to run the full. So you could actually just sort of transfer into the full with limited availability. Not everybody could do it. But I think they had a pretty decent amount of spots for it because the spots were available, according to some people I met in Germany that night, until about 1 or 2 p.m., even though they said they were going to close it off at 10. So you were able to run the full for the same price as the half. And they actually had a bus stationed at Animal Kingdom at about a little after the 13.1 mark, that they called it the 3.1. Oh, I wish I could remember it. It was 3.1 party bus or something like that. So it was basically a shuttle for the people that wanted to just do the half and then leave, which I thought was really nice. And if I had realized that was kind of an option, I think maybe I would have taken that. But instead, I chose to defer to do another half later. Sometime in the next 24 months. Then the other option that they offered was to give you a refund on a gift card, which is what Matt, my husband, took. And so he got a refund and used the gift card to pay part of our resort bill. So that was another sort of option, but we weren't entitled to any refund. So it was really nice that they offered anything at all.
That is nice, yeah.
Wow.
And another option they gave you too was if you wanted 2 one-day park hoppers.
Right.
Was another option as well. But just to backtrack a little bit, just in case people weren't following along, the weather was pretty good on Thursday and Friday. More towards Friday night, you could kind of there was rumors going around that the weather was going to be bad. Everybody was watching the weather very closely for days. Run Disney was absolutely fantastic, in my opinion, in their communication. I was following their Twitter very closely. They were posting on their Facebook page. They were emailing through your registration email, giving everybody updates saying, this is the update right now at 5 o'clock. We will let you know by 7 o'clock. And I think the cancellation came out about 7. And it circulated pretty quick over the internet. But I commend Run Disney with making the decision far in advance. A lot of people were kind of saying, well, why don't they wait any longer? There's a lot more that goes into these races. Not only is it just runners waking up at 2:30 in the morning, but the thousands of volunteers that show up at like midnight to set up everything for all of us, the public safety that has to be out there in place. There's a lot more things that go into it. So I really commend Run Disney and the race organizers for really just, making the decision and staying with it. I had woke up at 5 a.m. I was staying in Saratoga, and I looked at my window, and it was torrential downpour, and it was lightning. So they did make the correct call with canceling the race. There's some other factors that we had talked with other people about, for an example, if they started half the field in decent weather and then it got bad, first of all, we're all running around Seven Seas Lagoon and Bay Lake. So you're running around a huge body and under bodies of water, by mile 5 where, there's not a safe thing with lightning. There's nowhere to escape if where are you going to put 20,000 people? If the weather starts to get bad. So there was a lot of different factors that went to it. I had spoken with one of the bus drivers, and he said parts of the course were flooded. They eventually had drained out, but it was such a rush of water that the sewer system couldn't keep up with it. So you couldn't just have runners out there in areas that were flooded. So I give Run Disney, like I said, great, praise for doing what they did. Communication was great. As for the numbers with the people that had transferred, I had read online there was about 1,500 runners that had taken the option to run the full marathon. So kudos to those 1,500 runners for going out there. And I don't know how many just did the 13 or how many actually did the full, but kudos to everybody that went out and did it. If I had known that there was actually a 13.1 bus, I was planning on jumping in. But I didn't want to get in trouble or get caught or get banned from any Disney races. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to run it this weekend on my own with a friend of mine. I was like, I'll just do that instead, and I'll earn my medal that way. So I decided not to. I decided against it. But there was 1,500 runners that did jump into the full, and kudos to them. But that was pretty much it. So it was some serious bad weather. I know it was frustrating for all the runners out there. It's a first in Run Disney history. I know they've had the Splash and Dash, which was the wine and dine a few years back that was cut off because of lightning in the beginning of the race, and then it became very humid, and they only ran about 6 miles of it. So this was a first outright cancellation. But all the options they gave the runners, like Emily said, they didn't have to do anything. I mean, they were even letting runners who bought the I Did It shirts, the I Did It 13.1 shirts and other half marathon merchandise, return it to any Walt Disney World gift shop for credit. I mean, when have you ever heard that? They didn't even make them go to the expo to do it. They were saying you can go to your local resort, local resort gift shop and return it without any problem. So they were, for as much as we're hard on Run Disney for the prices and everything else, they've handled this, in my opinion, from what I saw as somebody being down there, they handled it very well. And
above and beyond.
They went above and beyond of what we signed these waivers with all this little ink, there's all this little print on it, and we don't know what we're signing away, and I'm sure stuff in there says that they're not responsible to do it, and they went and did it anyway. So like I said, great job, Run Disney.
Now, just for our listeners, you actually can return the race merchandise that's not a special thing for just this race. You can return expo merchandise to any resort, like even your hotel gift shop. And I've done that before, and that's what I was I was told at Wine Design,
Really?
I think, because we weren't sure which jacket to get. So they said, you can return these to your gift shop if you decide you don't want it. So.
Oh, wow. It was nice that they still gave out the medals. I mean, you still were able to get your medal and the shirts and all of that. So
you had to go back to the expo to get your medal. And I will say, this is where Matt and I went. I said to him, like, I would rather, have my eyes poked out than go back to the expo again, because I'm not, I mean, I like the expo sort of, but I'm really kind of we have 3 kids. So with 3 kids and strollers, and they're really young, it's just kind of an intolerable experience because you're not allowed to bring the strollers into the expo because it's very crowded. So basically we're penning up these little toddlers and they're just going crazy the whole time. So the expo is not an enjoyable experience for me, especially when the kids are around. So that was one of the reasons I decided to take the deferral, because I didn't want to go to the expo to do anything like get a credit. And what I was told by my husband, who sent me pictures, was that the line for the redemptions at the expo, it snaked all the way around those baseball fields.
It was hours long.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
But to their credit, they had somebody at the door that was really expediting things and was quickly saying, if you're just asking for the gift card credit, they did some kind of quick exchange thing and you didn't even have to go in. It basically was like halfway through the line that people were just being handed preloaded gift cards with very little sort of paperwork done, and just put on their way. So I will say that seemed to be that they did handle it pretty efficiently, and I think that was because the line was so huge.
Gotcha.
Wow.
Gotcha. Well, I got to say, kudos to everyone who did on Sunday run the marathon. Let me read this to you real quick. And keep in mind, everybody, up here in the Northeast, we this means nothing to us, but an Arctic frontal boundary will push through central Florida. Strong gusty north winds of 15 to 20 miles per hour. Expect minimum wind chills in the upper 20s by sunrise. That was from the National Weather Service on Sunday. And yet everybody went out there and you guys still ran. So kudos to all of you that toughed it out in very cold temperatures in Central Florida to run that race. But let me ask you guys real quick. Do you think that maybe they're being nicer, Run Disney that is, because they're not selling out like they used to because of the whole lack of deferral that they used to have?
I think it's a lot of reasons. I think that's one of them. I think, and just listening to people when I was in line for merch at the expo, it's the price too. I mean, the people they're really priced themselves out. Now, when I ran the 10K, I will have to say this: when I ran the 10K on Friday, I had a pretty good race. I accomplished my goal. It was under 9 minutes. It was about 8:54 pace. So that was my goal. I had a great race. I couldn't ask for a better race. And as I'm running the race,
nice.
I'm looking. Thank you. I'm looking around, and I'm seeing all of the amount of characters was pretty good. They had some great characters out there. They had like Launchpad McQuack was out there. They had, I mean, you never see him out there. They had a bunch of different jumbotrons showing like, old cartoons and stuff. Even though they are expensive, you're still getting a really good value for.
Oh yeah.
That was a reminder today. It's been a couple of years since I've done a Run Disney race. Yeah, I didn't run any last year. I've done a lot of local races and stuff like that. And this was just a reminder of how yes, it is expensive. And for maybe the average person, who doesn't run a lot of these races, like, wow, it's sticker shock. When you're used to paying $20 for a local 5K and you're paying $85, it's a huge difference, But you are still getting a value. You are still in Walt Disney World. It was just a reminder, so I think that, yes, the price and the lack of deferrals does make a huge difference. I think that was maybe the last straw, but it still is a good value. I mean, I wouldn't go any higher for them. Run Disney, if you're listening, you've really pushed the envelope as far as you can go, but it's still a pretty great experience. But it's definitely going to make it for some people not to run every single event every time there's every race weekend. It's going to kind of pull people back a little bit, saying, hey, you're going to be only do one weekend a year instead of 2 or 3. But it still is it still is a lot of fun, and you do get, I think, a lot for your money.
Well,
Right.
I know
do
that.
also think.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Emily. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I was going to say that I think that the refund was a good choice. The flexible options for refund for them was a very good choice. Because I think because it's the first cancellation, if people word started getting around that it's extremely expensive, you can't defer, and there's a possibility that they canceled the one race, I think that they would have people would have a real tough time justifying the races. But I do have to agree with Joe. There's no place I'd rather do a first race of anything. Like,
absolutely.
This was her first marathon, and it really doesn't matter what your time is. It doesn't matter, she got to ride Expedition Everest in the middle of a marathon.
Right.
And you're just not going to do that anywhere else. So,
yeah. I know my experience was wonderful as well. Yeah, absolutely. The reason I ask is I'm looking ahead to the dark side, which is in April, and the only thing that's sold out is the 10K and a couple of the kids races, and that was unheard of a year ago. It really was. It was they were sold out an hour after they went on sale. So that was just curious. You guys,
it's a little bit of saturation too, Bob. I think that there are so many race weekends now that I think it's kind of like, I'm not going to do this. I'm just going to do this weekend. Like, people are kind of picking and choosing what they want to do now. So I think it's a little bit of the saturation. However, that weekend, there is something special going on that weekend, I believe.
I'm not sure, but hey, before we get to that, what tell us about your ResortLoop Rocketeer meet.
How'd that go?
You had on the boardwalk.
So Emily and I hosted the first annual ResortLoop Rocketeer meet, and we had it Friday after at 4:00 in the afternoon at the Abracadabra Bar at Disney's Boardwalk Resort, and we had a very nice turnout. We had we probably had maybe over a dozen people. Emily, were probably there. 12, 13 people were there and took time out of their vacations to come and hang out with us and other Rocketeers and kind of share stories and just kind of meet and say hello. And it's kind of fun to it's the first meet that I've hosted, and I'm sure, and Emily's actually, it's the second, Emily hosted one during Wine and Dines. I'm sorry, it's the second annual one. But Emily has hosted one before, so this was a first for me. And being a part of it, it was just fun to meet people, quote unquote, in real life, not always just seeing them on Facebook and in the Facebook groups. But it was a lot of fun. We had a great turnout, had some drinks. We're talking about the weather to see what was going to happen the next day and what people were going to do. And it was a lot of fun. Took some pictures and we posted them on our Facebook page. And for anybody out there who is a Resort Loop listener and just wants to join a great team and just have some fun and encourage each other, come on over to our group. All you got to do is search for us, Resort Loop Rocketeers on Facebook, or email myself or Emily at runningteam@ResortLoop.com, and we'll add you to the team. And that's it. Just have a good time and go out and run.
Yes, and by the way, it's Abracadabra Bar. If you say it wrong, they won't give you the drink. I'm not kidding.
Oh, wow.
They still took my money. So
exactly.
You must not have ordered the drink with the magic words.
Well, I'm glad that the first one didn't scare you off, Emily, and that you were willing to do a second one for us. How'd the pins? Did you guys give out pins?
We did.
Nice.
And I'm going to need more, Tim and Bob. So please, I have like 2 left. But everybody there did get a button. So we did see some. Everybody was putting them on and sporting them around the parks. So we're spreading the word, getting the name out there.
Highly coveted.
That's right.
Exactly.
I had somebody almost stab me for one.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, wait, I almost stabbed them with the pin. Never mind.
Oh, is that how it went? There was blood. We remember the blood.
Either way.
So we all know that by the time the show is out, I'm sure it's going to be the Disneyland race weekend. So I don't know if there are going to be any Rocketeers out there in Disneyland, but myself and Emily, we can't be at every race. So as the team grows and progresses and we get more and more interaction with other people, hopefully races that myself or Emily or Tim and Bob are not at, we'll have other people that will be hosting meets for us in the future. So as time goes on. So we have some great runners out on the West Coast that I've gotten to know through the Facebook group and stuff, and Emily has as well. So hopefully as time goes on, they will be out there, holding the West Coast Rocketeer meets for us.
Absolutely.
Great.
That'll be fantastic. Tim, I think that we need to go to one of these Rocketeer meets. They sound like they have a lot of fun.
They do. We're fun people. Well,
Yeah.
well,
We'll let you in.
thank you.
You are.
I don't know
Be
you know about
kid.
that. Oh,
As long as it's not held at Ohana, we'll be fine. But
wow.
I don't know, Tim. You think we could make a race, maybe?
You mean just attend the event
Attend.
or not run the
Yeah,
event?
well,
Oh.
yeah, we're not crazy.
No.
We mean cheer for us at 3 a.m.
Cheer for you. Oh, 3 a.m. What? Wait.
Oh, please.
Just
3 a.m.
kidding.
is
Just kidding. 5:30.
That we can do.
We'll be at the finish line at like 9.
That's right.
That's
With omelets.
Sounds good.
No way I'm finishing by 9. But okay.
Awesome.
Well, I don't know, Tim. Should we commit? Should we commit to something?
Didn't we already commit? Aren't we committed?
Yeah, we're committed again. I'm just teasing again.
I know you are. Yeah, we're going to be down there for the Dark Side Challenge.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Glad
April.
I didn't spill the beans there just about 5 minutes ago.
No.
Gonna be fired from this show.
No. We
April 21st, right. 21st, 22nd, 23rd, we'll be at Walt Disney World cheering on
woo.
these two and so many other of the Rocketeers that are going to be down there. We're going to combine a looper meet with
Yes.
a Rocketeer meet. We're going to just have a fantastic time. Tim and I are deciding where we're going to hold this, and because we don't want to overwhelm the poor folks over at T-Traders.
No,
again.
we don't want to do that.
But yeah, we can't wait to see you guys again, and I guess we're going to have to bring more pins, Tim.
More pins, more details coming, more swag.
Ooh, whoa.
Yes.
I will say,
I do it for the pins.
exactly. I will say we have one of the, thanks to our friend Greg Nevis, one of the best running team logos out there.
Oh my gosh.
Definitely is pretty good.
Yeah. Fantastic graphic artist. Check him out. He's over on Facebook, social media, all those places. Greg Nevis.
Oh,
Great guy. He follows us. So if you want to, find him, find us, and then you can find him. That's kind of how that works. But
yeah.
Glad you guys had a great time.
It was definitely
awesome.
it was a good weekend. It was it was fun first of all to meet Emily finally for the
I was
first
going to say
time,
the same
right?
thing. I was going to say I
We
finally
literally ran into each other as I was returning something at the expo on was that Thursday, I believe it was, and you were running to the expo to pick up something. I was like, "Oh, I'm about to meet Emily for the first time here." So in passing.
Yep.
But that was a
And
lot
you
of
could-
fun.
You
sorry.
saw how fun the expo is for me. I was literally making arrangements to drop off my kids at the Lilo's Playhouse that night. I was like,
Nice.
"No, here, let me." Their names are.
But any marathon weekend, I just find I've been to the Disneyland weekend out in Anaheim, and this year I'll be out for Tinkerbell in Anaheim, and I'm going to be doing Star Wars now. But just to the whole marathon weekend itself, the granddaddy of them all in January is just a lot of fun. It's just fun just to be a part of it, seeing people do their first marathons. It had an interesting feel this year to be a part of the first one that was canceled. I don't know how Emily felt, but
Oh, yeah.
that Friday night, honestly, I went bowling with some friends of ours down in Splitsville, and it felt like a snow day. It was like it's like we didn't have
So
to
well
wake up.
put.
We didn't have to wake up anymore at 3:00 in the morning, and we went out and we drank and we bowled and we had a good time. It was like we had a snow day from school. That's what it felt like. So it was a fun weekend. It was an interesting weekend, but it was a blast. And you know what? It was canceled. It happens, but I'll be back next year for marathon weekend to run the half again. So.
And you know what? We totally forgot to mention this, but we'd be remiss not to. The runners put together unofficial runs afterwards because a lot of people wanted to feel like, of course, that they had earned this medal, and a lot of people had trained for it, whatever. So almost every single resort, these groups came together, and they actually ran the half marathon later in the day after the threat of the storm had passed.
That is correct.
And it was amazing because honestly, like listening to the stories of people, how they did their halves was even more special, and the people that, did the 13.1 and then took the shuttle, or the people that did the 13.1 and then decided to finish the full, and that was their first full marathon. That made it sort of even more special. And it's funny how, Disney people sort of come together, and that's sort of it was sort of a testament to that. You know what I mean?
It seems like the couple hot spots were
around the boardwalk area. And believe it or not, the staff at the ESPN club was out there handing out waters, I've heard, while runners were running around the boardwalk and Swan and Dolphin area. Saratoga was a pretty popular area. I've heard Riverside and French Quarter and were big in it, so was the All-Stars. So there was a lot of different groups out there running. I know for a fact I have a lot of friends over at the BRGS Lizards. They were out there. Mike Rallman and company was out there at midnight getting her running. Right. So their dopey was perfect. So just like I said, we would be remiss if we didn't bring out the spirit of the Run Disney runner. Just out there, just doing their own thing. And it was fun to look at people's Garmins when they were posting them on their sites where they ran. And it was fun to watch that. Unfortunately, I was out drinking on Friday night, so I didn't really get a chance to wake up to do it. But
everybody was taking it easy at the Rocketeers meet. Everybody was taking it easy at the Rocketeers meet, and then of course, as soon as it was canceled, you got all the pictures of everybody at the bar. I also heard they had a bunch of little kids. People brought out little kids in costumes, like a little kid in an Ewok costume, and did like character stops with their kids for the runners, which is super adorable. So
that is very cool.
Everybody made the best of a bad situation. I mean, if you want to call it a bad situation, everybody made the best of it. Unfortunate. There's greater tragedies in the world, but the Run Disney community is amazing, and everybody made the best of it. Had a blast.
Yeah, became very positive.
Yes.
That takes some dedication there, Tim. Almost as much as Holiday-thon. I mean, that's that.
Just a little bit.
I pulled a hammy a couple of times.
You did. Kept
going.
But it was actually bacon, which is kind of weird.
I could hear that.
It was a ham sandwich, but whatever. Listen, guys, you can find Joe and Emily over at Resort Loop Rocketeers on Facebook, and they both posted a lot of great pictures and notes on what happened during the marathon weekend, and we really appreciate you guys for doing that.
Yeah, you can tell it was a great time.
That was a lot of fun, guys. We always enjoy it, and all the members of the team are great, and we look forward to doing the next meet. So first, I want to say good luck to all of the people running in Disneyland this coming weekend, or whenever the show comes out, if it's already happened. And we hope to see everybody out at Star Wars Dark Side. I think it's Dark Side weekend, right? In Orlando's Dark Side weekend. Yeah, in April. So I'm once we're done recording here, I'm going to pretty much sign up because it's open still. So get on it, everybody.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Tim, that is all I have for our captains.
Excellent, guys. Thanks so much for joining us. A great show. Always love hearing about the Run Disney and the Resort Loop Rocketeers. You can follow me on Twitter and Resort Loop 10, Facebook, and the website, ResortLoop.com. Don't forget about the Resort Loop Rocketeers.
And I'm Resort Loop Bob on the Twitter and Instagram. Like us on Facebook, rate us on iTunes. Don't forget our YouTube channel and Patreon. And what else should folks do, Tim?
Go out there and share with your friends and enemies the gateway to the magic.
See you, everybody.
Hey, Bob, it's that time of year again.
Absolutely. Everybody's getting ready for their next year's vacation planning. And what should folks do, Tim?
Contact Tyler over at People Mover Travel. January is going to be cruise time. It's what they call wave season. Everybody's putting in their vacation at work, so you're going to know what days you need to take. So contact him. Get in early.
Absolutely, and make sure that's peoplemovertravel.com. Let them know that you heard of them from us in the drop-down menu Resort Loop.
That's right. You'll get the days you want at the hotel you want, and he's going to keep an eye out for the rest of the year for discounts right up until the day you leave for your vacation. That's peoplemovertravel.com.